You're listening to Historical Perspectives with Mr. Malt. Learn about life by looking at our history. Teachers, for more information about historical perspectives, search Mr. Malt's Marketplace on Teachers Pay Teachers or at mrmaltmarketplace.com. Happy learning!
The Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was not a real railroad with tracks and trains. Instead, it was a secret system that helped enslaved people escape to freedom. It worked from the late 1700s to the mid-1800s during a time when slavery was still allowed in many parts of the United States. People who wanted to help enslaved individuals escape to freedom worked together in secret. They used secret routes and safe houses to help people travel north, where slavery wasn't allowed, or farther to Canada. What was the Underground Railroad? The Underground Railroad was not underground, and it didn't use trains. It got its name because the people involved used secret methods to hide their work, just like something underground. The word railroad was used because they thought of the system as a way to move people from one place to another, just like a train moves passengers. People who escaped from slavery were called freedom seekers, and those who helped them were called conductors. Safe houses, where freedom seekers could hide, were called stations. The people who ran those stations, giving shelter and food, were known as station masters. How did it work? The Underground Railroad was dangerous, but it was a lifeline for many people who dreamed of freedom. Freedom seekers usually traveled at night to avoid being caught. During the day, they hid in stations, barns, attics, or basements until it was safe to move again. Codes and special signals helped people communicate in secret. For example, they might hang a certain color of cloth outside a house to show it was safe to stop there. Songs were also used to give directions. A song like "Follow the Drinking Gourd" helped people find their way north by following the stars. There were no maps for the Underground Railroad. Freedom seekers had to follow directions given by conductors or learn about landmarks like rivers, mountains, or specific trees. They often walked long distances in the dark, facing cold weather, hunger, and fear of being caught. Heroes of the Underground Railroad. One of the most famous conductors on the Underground Railroad was Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman, born Araminta Ross, was a brave woman who escaped slavery herself. After gaining her freedom, she made about 13 trips back to the South, helping more than 70 enslaved people escape to freedom. She was called Moses because, like the Moses in the Bible, she led her people to safety. Another hero was Levi Coffin, a man who lived in Indiana. Levi and his wife, Catherine, opened their home as a shelter for freedom seekers. Their house became known as the Grand Central Station of the Underground Railroad. They helped hundreds of enslaved people find their way to freedom. Why was it important? The Underground Railroad was important because it gave enslaved people hope and a way to escape. It showed the power of people working together to fight against injustice. It also helped many people learn how wrong slavery was. Even though it was dangerous, the courage of those who escaped and those who helped them changed history by showing that freedom was worth fighting for. While the Underground Railroad didn't end slavery, it became a symbol of freedom and resistance. Today, we remember the brave men and women who risked their lives for the freedom of others.
Thanks for listening to this Historical Perspective. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe. Also, search for Historical Perspectives on Teachers Pay Teachers to learn more about other topics. such as the Golden Gate Bridge, Henry Ford, schools in the early 1900s, and so much more. Happy learning!